Hello again. Welcome to the second and last part of the artwork creation process for the cover of Exodus: Edge of Extinction board game. I know that last time we left off at that point where the foreground elements and the characters are pretty much established, the tones and some basic color as well. And we said that we're moving straight to the middle ground, the audience. But I would like to go through this cleanup process for a little while. So now we pretty much want to lose the line art, the sketchy lines that you see here in the foreground, and create some smoother, nicer transitions before we move on. This structure is one of the most difficult things I had to struggle with during this painting process, because curiously I've seen that if you have something very clean or something very chaotic, for example, if you have to make a jungle, or if you have to make something purely man-made like this spaceship interior, it's often harder than trying to make mixed stuff like I don't know, a spaceship that just crashed in a jungle, and we have mechanical parts and trees coming out of the spaceship, and it's like a mixed situation. So you can get away with many mistakes, so to speak. You can be more sloppy in a way. So here we have a very clean environment in the sense of everything is mechanical, everything is man-made and designed, sorry. So it's more difficult to get away with speed painting, where you don't spend much time figuring everything out. And especially in this case, where we are supposed to have this fisheye lens distortion, it's like trying to do many things at the same time. So design and put the thing in this weird perspective at the same time. And therefore, this is the problem I have to struggle with here. I had to remake many parts I designed during the line art process where I did not figure out, or I saw in the way that they didn't serve the purpose. They didn't serve the drawing so well, the image, and I was trying to redesign this stuff on top of a rendered picture. So along the way we have more and more stuff piling up. In the start we just have a line art where we define the borders, we define the forms, and a little bit of the three-dimensional space that each element occupies. In the tone stage, we separate the planes, so to speak, what's forward, what's further away, and then we introduce the light and the color. So I think you can imagine it's very hard to try to do all three things at once. Let's talk about Krita a little bit more, because it's a very nice software. I love this working with this software. It just gives you a very natural feeling. It's very intuitive. So, for example, you saw me drawing these circles before, like this stuff that go over some of the figures that are on the foreground. Of course, it's on a layer, and I can erase back uh, the parts I don't want later on. So in Krita, like in every other painting software, you have the simple brush tool, which is a freehand stroke, just like you would use a normal pen or brush. In Krita, you also have some modes for the brush. So, for example, if you want to draw a straight line, you have a mode which allows you to draw just straight lines with a selected brush. You also have some shapes like square, circle, and also polygon. And you also have a path which you can very carefully trace the shape you want to draw and draw it with a selected brush. So this gives you a very quick way to draw these shapes. So here I ended up changing these separations between each faction leader, each speaker. I liked the ones that were before, but they were too fancy, and I wanted something more serious, more straight, and more clean, more functional. And as we move towards the edges of the circular structure, I'm going to have a hard time figuring out what I'm going to do with these corridors, the 6 corridors that come from the edges from the edges of the interior, because it's nice that they're coming from 6 different directions, but it didn't really work for me, and I think they're going to vanish pretty soon. Some more cleanups. Now this is a selection. I'm making selections, and I isolate some areas, like mask some areas I want to draw on, and therefore anything that is outside the selection is protected. I cannot draw on it. So selections give you the opportunity to make some clean edges, some clean separations between 2 areas. Some more cleanups. I think this first minutes of the video are sped up even more than before, so maybe some parts are like 5 times, 6 times faster, just for the sake of getting out of the way this boring stuff. So now again we are on a layer, and I drew a circle with this circle mode of the brush. I just wanted to make this plane separation a little bit stronger. So for example, here we have the top of the circular structure that's hit by light. I wanted to enforce the contrast, and maybe something on the floor, some kind of a light, weak light down there. Again, I'm on a layer, so I'm not worrying so much about being careful not to draw and stuff. I'm drawing all over the place, but they will be easily erased as soon as I'm done. Here I want to make the floor a little bit darker. Yeah, and now I'm erasing back. The same process will go for this one as well. So let's move forward. So now I've cleaned up this this area, and the structure in the middle is much sharper now, much cleaner. It represents a man-made clean-cut construction. And now I'm going to do a similar process for the ceiling. What I did now is I just made two circles into different layers, and I just selected the second circle, and I cut the area of the first, and therefore I end up with this this shape. Now I'm just selecting. This is a path selection, so I can control it very easily. And again, refine the shape with this. And I move on with the same technique to make the other elements of the ceiling. So the red circle is supposed to be the part that looks the outer part that picks up light from the environment, the red nebula. And the technique goes like this for a while, making circle, cutting, and refining the various homocentric, I think it's called, circles that define the ceiling. You know, all these circles are sharing the same center, they just have a different size. Another brush mode in Krita is the kaleidoscope. You can define many points of symmetrical drawing. You can pick from 2 up to, I don't know, maybe 60 points, and you just draw one and the others are drawn in a circle around this. It's very handy for such situations where you have many elements that are the same, like this LED light. And I don't have to draw each one separately. Some blur. Here we are. This white circle is another feature of Krita. This feature is the ruler tool. It's an amazing feature. I'm using it all the time. Especially when I have to draw such clean-cut, man-made stuff, where you have many ellipses and straight lines and all this clean design. And the way they are working is, I mean, I haven't seen something so nice, so intuitive in any other software. They really work like physical, like you had a traditional ruler. So you have a straight ruler, you can make a straight line. You have a circle, you have a path, like you can define a curve like this one, like this selection curve I'm doing now. And then you can go with your brush, with your selected brush, and it follows the line of the marker of the ruler. Sorry. The difference with making something like a selection and then making a stroke, which is a more usual way of making this stuff, is that I can have I can use my brush, I can use the pressure to make something, some part little more fine, or to define something by pressing harder. All this stuff are picked up. It's like you are doing a freehand stroke. Just your stroke is confined to follow the line of the ruler. It's very handy. It's a great feature here in Krita. And now finally we are moving on to the middle ground. As you can see, the ceiling is now more or less defined. I mean the big shapes, and I can understand which shape looks down, which is the side, and therefore it gives me a good base later on. And now finally these strange corridors are out of the game. I tried a lot, but they really didn't work for me. Also, as you can see, I added these doors in the middle ground, and I will probably add a couple more, just to help the population back there to move around and make some interesting situation. So this is the solution I came up with for this, to give a way to these poor leaders to move around this spaceship. So I added this circular platform around this under the structure, and now I'm adding circular steps, which should make sense. Everything is following the same design philosophy in this room. So the idea is that we have 3 stairways and 2 of the factions share the same entrance instead of 6 different corridors, 1 for each. Just makes it simpler. Moving forward. Now this is supposed to be one of the entrances, one of the 3 main entrances where the guys can use to come to this platform, to this circular table. So I'm going to put a door back there later on. Here it goes. Of course, this part is for me. It's not the most interesting part by itself. It's like trying to set up the scene for the characters. But I've seen that if you do a sloppy job, then the characters don't really have a good stage to move in. So it's definitely worth it to spend as much time as is needed to really figure out and build a good stage for your characters. Just trying to figure out some of the reflected light that comes to the ceiling. And define a little bit the people back there. Now I'm erasing, I'm drawing with the shadows. But it will very quickly give us an indication of 3-dimensional shapes instead of black blobs. I'm talking about the people and the structures back there. Now we can see there is something and it casts a shadow behind. And now some defining, some rendering of the corridors and the doors back there. Now this door is supposed to be one of the 3 main doors where the leaders of the factions come through. I also think that now we are again in a double, triple speed, so it's like 2, 3, 4 times faster. It's not so insanely fast like before. I hope nobody was dizzy by watching the introduction. Yeah, so here the idea is that the leaders come through this, so maybe I just put some guy with a flag or a banner. Something I didn't mention last time, I'm flipping the canvas very often. The advantage of this is that if you're working on something for quite some time, then your brain gets used to the mistakes, gets used to, accepts the image, and you're blind to many perspective mistakes, anatomy, like analogies. You just don't see them anymore. And flipping the image just gives you a fresh look. You can spot many things that you didn't see before. You can check the composition, you can check the perspective, and very often when something doesn't work, if you see it in a mirror view, in a flipped view, then you instantly recognize what's wrong. And again, some more about Krita. Krita has a way to do this that is so easy, like as easily holding a mirror in front of your screen. It's not like it it really flips the image, it flips the layer, but it just mirrors the view. So it's very, very fast. It's like instantly. It happens instantly. This is this is very, very handy with big images. If I had to flip around the layers in a big image, it could be much slower. I had to wait for about a minute until the change was happening. Maybe not a minute, but enough to turn me off, so to speak. So here is again the ruler tool, very handy. And now this is a curve. I just make the curve, and now I'm doing the stroke pretty much like in a traditional situation when you get a curve or some kind of device to help guide your hand, and I can draw with my stroke. I can give expression to the stroke, and this is it's great. It's a great feature. Now I'm just erasing. This is supposed to be the table, and for things that are so far away, it's very easy to make an indication. A blob can be like a whole human being, like or a hand. It's not so far away, but a hand or some stuff that could be on the table are just 2-3 strokes for each character. And it's enforcing this feeling that something is a lot is going on back there. So I'm done with this part, and I'm just moving and adjusting my ruler to continue working on the lower level, and it's the same as before. So let's go forward. Oops, green screen. Okay. Now I'm just selecting. Some areas are in the shadow. Some areas pick up direct light. I'm not really sure in how many lights we're going to have in the end, but I'm pretty sure that we're going to have some spotlights from the ceiling. Again, moving forward, and now I'm going to introduce some of these banner bearers. Maybe each each faction has a specific area for its people. So here is the banner holder of the Serious Theocracy, for example, and it is approximately behind the leader, like the place where the leader is sitting. And now I'm going just to take this guy and copy him. And this is going to be another faction's banner holder. So yeah, he's the Hanja banner holder. Just move a little bit forward. The door is picking up some light. So now the process for the background is fun to do, but it's a repetitive. I'm going over each. I'm slowly scanning this image, and I'm refining the parts. I'm adding details. They were too small. I had to make sure that a real person can pass through the door. It was still very small. Checking now that it's like the right size. Yeah, now it's better. Again, I flipped the canvas. These are the Hanja dynasties. This is the Hanja dynasties part. So most of the people are wearing this distinct red, this black robes with the red stripes. And just to make it more interesting, I added this figure. It's walking, maybe interacting with them in some way. Maybe it's giving something, some papers. Papers. I don't know if they have papers at this age, but maybe something like papers, electronic papers. And also making him, making him distinct in some way. He's not one of the Hanja, he's like something else, from another faction. Some of the staff of this parliament. And maybe some other figure. Some scale problems here. Same with the door. No, she's big enough. It was on a layer, so we can easily erase back. As I said, the process goes like this for a while. Of course, I don't have to stick on a place for so long, like with these two figures, but this is an exception. Normally, it's not. I don't have to stay too long on each part. they are supposed to be picking up light, so they are lighter than the others on the left, which are entirely in shadow. And I will probably introduce some local color as well. And of course it's purely impressionistic. I don't have to really draw every figure, every it's more minimalistic approach here. Just giving an impression that a lot of stuff are going on there. Many people are sitting and they are there doing something is enough. The viewer can participate a lot with these images, and in fact I invite it. I like this thing. I don't like drawing everything, but I like to draw to paint enough stuff for the viewer's eyes to work with. And, I usually like very much making pictures that one can discover many things both in the content and both unconsciously as they make up their image, the image in their eyes. I don't mean that I try to hide any messages in the image. Just that by not drawing everything, but letting many things being loose and in the shadow, or in this especially far away objects that are not so much detailed, but there is enough information for our eyes to work with. It's a very rewarding process, I think, both for the painter and for the viewer. But of course there is the intention. I understand what each person is doing. So there is the indication that somebody's speaking, somebody's walking, somebody is looking at some point. And some details like this, they come along the way. I didn't plan about this thing, but it just looks natural that this bar should be there, because it separates from the lower level of the room. Moving forward a little bit. So here I went ahead and painted some more of the people, of the population. It's the same process as before. Nothing changed. Their coloring is very dull, very grayish, except for the parts that are picking up the red light from outside. Because I know that towards the end I will have some more atmospheric effects between them and the foreground. So there will be probably much red light and possibly some light fog from the spotlights that are going to be introduced later on. flipping often. I'm almost unconsciously, subconsciously doing this thing. Whenever I'm a little bit stuck, I just flip the image and I instantly go on. Just instantly gives you a fresh view of the image. In traditional medium, you can use a mirror for this, the same effect. So here I introduced the spotlight back there, and I'm in some fog between the foreground and the middle ground, and now I'm working on the characters, the protagonists. Faces are very fun to draw, and especially from this distance, a little line can make a big difference. This process is a little bit like if we had a photo that is out of focus and we're focusing the image slowly. We're bringing in the details and introducing crisper lines and divisions and all the details that will be lost in an out of focus photo. Yeah, it's better that way. The foreground is sitting on a layer, so I don't worry about it's very easy to erase and be a little bit more sloppy with the brush work without affecting the background. Except from the flipping, I can also very easily rotate my canvas. This is a very handy way. It's like you had a piece of paper in your hand. Moving on to our little fat guy here. Observing the situation. Now here I introduced these three spotlights, these three main spotlights that come from the edges of the big window frame back there. And therefore we have this nice edge light, this character. Now when the light comes, the light source is behind the object, so that the object is between us and the light source. Then we have this nice edge lighting effect, which appears on the parts of the surface that are parallel to our eyes and the light source. So that they're in this kind of angle that reflect the light back to our eyes. One thing you can very easily see this effect if you look at the field of grass. You go out on a field of grass, and maybe it's sunset, and if you turn and the sun is behind you, you will see this the grass and the grass blades have this grayish, a little bit cool light, but no edge lighting, or maybe they are more greenish, more yellowish. It depends on the grass. And then if you turn around and you're facing the sun, then all the blades, the top of the blades, will have this nice shine, this white shine, and this is the edge lighting. So one reason I introduced these spotlights, apart from lighting my central stage better, is to be able to introduce this kind of light that really describes the forms very nicely, describes the silhouettes very nice. I've turned off the yellow hologram thing light at the center, just because it's a bit distracting. So I don't want to have this at the moment, and I'm not really sure at the moment if it's going to be so strong. I will probably end up having lower intensity or smaller objects that are so bright. My idea is that we're going to have a bunch of planets at the center, and the sun, like a solar system, and the sun is going to emit that to give that light. The sun will be the light source of the hologram. Some texture work on the ceiling. At the center, it's going to pick up more light from below, and as we move outwards, the reflected light from the nebula, from the right situation out there, will produce this saturated, warm glow. I wanted to have a shiny material, maybe like a metallic surface for these frames. I've made a bunch of texture brushes that are the textures are really some photos from cityscapes and industrial stuff. It's not so important what they are. I'm just using them to introduce some texture when I'm doing industrial, man-made structures. And I also made this brush that emulates a shining light. It's very similar technique like the one I used to make this star during the course of the first video. Very, very handy to be able to make costume brushes so easily. A metallic surface is this kind, like this clean, polished, very shiny metallic surfaces are reflective, and when they are curved like this, it's supposed to be a big circle, they tend to really condense the reflection of something, opposing to a flat plane which reflects the stuff pretty much one on one. A curved surface will really produce very narrow reflections, and therefore we often end up seeing the reflection on such surfaces like many strong vertical lines, because they're able to reflect much wider size, much wider reflection of the things that are around them. So, for example, the sky can reflect some stars that are on the left-hand side, and this is probably the reflection of one of the three spotlights. And here comes the other. Here I quickly made this representation of the hologram in the middle. just to give me an idea of how it could look like. So here we moved a little bit forward. I followed the same process to make one more frame, one more metallic frame up there on the ceiling. And now I'm introducing this light that comes from the hologram, this greenish warmer light. A little bit forward. Now here I introduced the same metallic surface that is facing up, the circular thing, circular frame around the hologram area, and I also took some time to make this hologram. As you can see, it's not this big bright area anymore. We just have this sun at the center and some stars. So the lighting situation that comes from the center is not so intense like it was before. Moving forward again. These guys are always on my second screen, but sometimes they pop up here. Yeah, head was too small. Now it's better. Now this is the last stage, so everything takes a little bit more time to define as we go for more and more detailed things, especially here in the foreground, here in the on and around the characters. I don't want everything to be full of detail, and this is the reason I ended up redoing these separators between each faction. I went for something less elaborate, more simple, more practical, because I mostly want our eyes to fall on the characters, the hologram, the center, and the rest other to give a feeling of big scale, the atmosphere. Edge lighting really helps to separate planes, to helps make things pop out, like this figure right here. Of course, the process is not so different as one would follow to make an acrylic painting. It's more convenient. I don't have to worry about materials and colors, because I can use all the color I want. And also, it's a very forgiving medium, a digital medium. I can draw over areas over and over, and there is no restriction on how much you can work on an area. If I wanted to make this on acrylics, I would have to use very thick paint. I'm talking about this face specifically, because otherwise it's the layer underneath, the darker layer underneath would pop out, and I would probably have to to paint the same area 2-3 times to make the colors really stick. So this is the female part of the Titan diarchy, the female leader. And it's really funny in this kind of paintings. I cut off many parts of the process which were repetitive, but in the end, almost 80% of the work and of the time spent is to make the stage where the important elements, which are these characters, will live on. But in the end, it's important to have a stable base. Just checking the proportions are working correctly. Trying to give the impression that she is now standing up. She was seated and now she's standing up to protest or to shout at the at the bionic guy. Who knows what he said. Jumping around very often to polish details here and there. I'm trying to keep the whole image at the same level as much as possible. Of course, at this stage, I have to take a smaller lens and concentrate on smaller areas to define. Now we are approaching the end of this painting process. In the end, I'm going to make some color adjustments to bring the foreground even further apart from the middle ground, and also introduce some atmosphere, more enhance more this red fog that we had before. It's still there. I just turned it off to speed things up. So yeah, the whole atmosphere will be much more reddish, and there is going to be much more fog back there. Sometimes painting is a little bit like walking on the mountain, and in the start you have to try, the road goes upwards, but at a certain point it's like you've reached the top and you've seen the whole picture, the whole scenery, and from then on whatever you do, it's really it supports the structure, the picture that you already established. Sometimes this comes from the start. It's never the same. But in any case, making this picture was a very, very interesting and learning experience for me. I hope it worked in the same way for some of you too. For any of you that are interested in digital drawing, digital painting, or are already doing this, check out Krita. It's a very, very interesting piece of software. This version I'm working on now is, I think, 2.8.3, and now the developers have moved on, and they're going to introduce the next version pretty soon. The next version is really worth looking. It's packed with new tools and great features. So some some more polishing work here. As you can see, I'm still using this ruler tool. What's great about this ruler tool is that you can also connect many rulers together, as you can see in a moment. Now I'm using this curve ruler tool, and I've connected many, I think two rulers together, and therefore can make more complex shapes. And of course, you can adjust them on the fly. So it is over soon. After this stage, there is some more work, mostly color adjustment and some detailing on the hologram at the center, and of course the atmospheric effects. But we're pretty much done. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.